Welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. Hope you're having yourselves a wonderful start to your week this week. I know some people are like, man, Dan, I don't like Mondays. I'm not feeling it on a Monday. And my response to you is Monday, like any other day, is a day that God woke you up. It's a day of opportunity. It's a day where you can truly be who you want to be, do the things that you want to do, and live the life that you want to live. So I don't see Monday as different than any other day of the week. I see Monday as another day to smile, to think, to laugh, to cry some happy tears, to appreciate, to go after the things you want, and to be the best that you can be. So, happy Monday to every single one of you out there. I hope you're having a great day. Inside of MonPausPopcorn.com's What's Poppin'. A lot of great things coming up with Murphalation for the nation. So it is DT and Murphy this morning. It starts off your week here on Wake Up Call. Every single week we bring you DT and Murphy to start off the week, and we'll be talking about Major League Baseball. The playoff picture is not done. It all comes down today, and there was supposed to be a 3-game series between the Mets and the Braves, and that 3-game series turned into 1 game, and then a postponement, which is now turned into a doubleheader that will be this afternoon. And Murph and I will get into the implications of that and what it means for the Arizona Diamondbacks. And then we'll jump into the larger playoff picture for Major League Baseball here in 2024 and what that looks like in the seating and the brackets and all that good stuff. Then we'll jump into the college football world for College Football Week 5, some games that went down, what we think about some of those happenings that were there. Kalen DeBoer in Alabama, are they for real? We'll discuss that. We'll get into the NFL Week 4 and what's happened up to this point. Murph and I are coming off of close games, his Jets, my Jaguars, and what Week 4 was like. He was on site on location at MetLife Stadium for Denver at the Jets, so we'll get into that. And, of course, we'll show off some cards here in Sports Card Show and Tell, proudly presented by GG Cards and Breaks. So with that being said, it is my honor and my privilege to bring in picture-in-picture Mr. Murph. Murph, how we doing today?
I'm still a little cold from sitting in the rain all day yesterday.
Understood.
Yeah, if those of you that were not at the game, if you didn't watch, if you saw it on TV, and it probably didn't look that bad. It probably just looked foggy.
Yeah.
But it was that really annoying rain that gets you wet, but really doesn't. It gets you wet, but it really doesn't go away. It's just annoying. And by the second half, at least, it slowed down and stopped. But first half, it was raining pretty good. I had water dripping off my hat. My rain gear soaked through, so I was wet. It was not a very eventful day. But to go back on your point of what you said about Mondays, for me, Mondays are a day for stressing out about the Mets because they have a doubleheader to determine who goes to the playoffs, if not both teams going to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Only problem with both teams going to the playoffs is it screws your Diamondbacks. So I'm kind of rooting for us to sweep the doubleheader, even though in my head I don't see that as being all that likely.
Yeah, I mean, the doubleheader today and going into yesterday, there was all these different scenarios of if this happened and that happened, then if this happened but this didn't happen. So, like, if the Braves lose and the Mets win and the Diamondbacks win, but what if the Braves win and the Mets win and the Diamondbacks lose? And going through all of it has really just led us to today. And what today brings is the Diamondbacks have no control. The Diamondbacks did not take care of business against the San Francisco Giants. They did not take care of business against the San Diego Padres. And because they did not control their own destiny in a way that would provide an opportunity for them to not even have to be considering this series or looking at this series. They now have to sit and watch and wait. And that sit and watch and wait has put them in a situation where they need the Mets to sweep today. They need them to win both of the doubleheader games, or they need the Braves to win both of the doubleheader games to knock each other out. If the Braves and the Mets split today, then the Diamondbacks do not go to the postseason, and the Braves and the Mets go. So essentially, whoever wins that first game, as long as that the other team takes care of that second game, then both of the teams playing today are going to be playing in the postseason. The Diamondbacks just have to hope that somebody can sweep the day. And in that case, they would be put in the 6th spot and find themselves going up against Milwaukee, which is what they did last year. So it's not an ideal situation. Arizona was the number 1 wild card. They were the 4 seed in the National League, and they fell in just within a short amount of time here, a week or so. They fell from 4th to 5th to 6th to out. And that comes from just not taking care of things they need to take care of. Their series against the San Francisco Giants was unfortunately reminiscent of other times this year where they've beaten good teams, and then they put themselves in a situation with a team that's not going to the postseason, that's not having a good season, and drop a game to the Rockies or drop a game to the White Sox or drop the series to the Giants. So because of moments like this for the Diamondbacks, where they've had good moments against the Dodgers, they've been able to play well against teams that are in the postseason. They've done well against the Phillies. They've had moments against the Brewers, and yet they struggle against teams that they should be beating and taking care of. The Giants playing for nothing else other than spoiler, and the Diamondbacks not being able to, shouldn't say not being able to, just not doing it. And the unfortunate up and down of Arizona has put them in a place where they no longer control it. And because of their play head-to-head against the Braves and the Mets this season, they do not own a tiebreaker between them. If they did, then they would be in as of today because they were tied with the Mets. So they would have flipped. But Arizona does not have the tiebreaker, and they are left, like all of us, to watch a game at 1 p.m. and a game to follow at approximately 4 o'clock. Thoughts, Murph?
I'm worried. I know as a reasonable Mets fan, as a reasonable MLB fan, this and we've heard this comparison probably. I've heard this comparison at least 3 or 4 times over the course of the last 16, 18 hours since the games ended yesterday. But this brings you back to the Raiders-Chargers game a few years ago. Mm-hmm. All they had to do was tie, and they both made the playoffs. Those teams played the game hard. The difference being they don't have 2 games to play. They only had 1.
Yeah.
These 2 teams have 2 games to play. The team that wins game 1 surely will rest all their starters in game 2, all their best players. Let's just say, for instance, the Mets win game 1 and we clinch. You probably won't see Lindor. You probably won't see Alonso. You probably won't see Alvarez. You will not see Severino. Diaz won't pitch. You won't see the horses in game 2. Same can be said about the Braves. Sale won't pitch because they'll save him for the wild card. Right? Olsen will be out of the lineup. Harris will be out of the lineup. Riley's not playing. Who am I forgetting? Well, they got a lot of good players on the team, but still, they won't play most of their best players. And each team gets an extra man for the doubleheader. If the Mets win game 1, they're probably going to start Joey Lucchesi in game 2, assuming he's with the team. I don't know who they're bringing up as the 29th man for the doubleheader. And if the Braves win, they're probably going to start, I don't know, someone random in game 2.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't mean that team that won game 1 wouldn't be able to sweep, because we've seen hangover games after clinchers teams win. It just doesn't happen often. I don't know what that's going to look like. I mean, we're going to know in about 8 hours who's going to the playoffs. About 12 hours who's going to the playoffs and who's not. But obviously the ideal situation for you is one of the teams sweeps. I would love for it to be the Mets because I'd love to knock the Braves out of the playoffs. Because as most of you know, I despise the Atlanta Braves. I hate the Atlanta Braves with every last fiber of my being. Their organization, their fans, I can't stand them. Come after me for it, right? Come after me for it if the Mets get swept. I can't stand the Braves, even though I was semi-rooting for them to win yesterday because and I'm sorry to tell you that, but realistically, had the Braves won yesterday,
Yeah.
they would have clinched. So tomorrow would have meant nothing to them. They wouldn't have played anybody. Assuming the Mets won game one, they would have never played the second game of the doubleheader. The Mets would have been going to Milwaukee and the Braves would have been going to San Diego. So I don't know. It's the ideal scenario that we had last week where both of our teams made the playoffs is looking slimmer and slimmer by the minute. It started to it was looking okay for a little while. And then the series got postponed and the Diamondbacks did play the Giants well. So that situation, that scenario isn't exactly looking like it's going to play out. And if it does, I'd be thrilled because then that would mean both of us could make the playoffs. On the other hand, I'd be a little upset because that means we got to go to San Diego.
Yeah.
That's the last team I want to play right now. Although, as evidenced by this week, I don't think I want to really play the Brewers either.
Yeah. And this is what it looks like, and these are the tiebreakers. No longer is there a game 163 if a season finishes tied. Instead, tiebreakers are determined by head-to-head records first, and if needed, intra-division records second. But because these games were actually part of the 162, that's why they're being played today. So it does look like a play-in day, but it is actually a makeup day for these two games.
It is, but it isn't.
Yeah, it is, but not on purpose. And
correct.
So the Mets have clinched the tiebreaker against the Diamondbacks. The Braves have clinched the tiebreaker against the Diamondbacks. The Braves hold the tiebreaker against the Mets with 2 games left to play. So this is where we're at right now. And outside of everything else, to look at the greater playoff picture, the Los Angeles Dodgers are NL West title. They won the NL West title. They're the number 1 seed in the National League bracket, best Major League Baseball record overall. And so they will go through the wild card. The Phillies have the NL East. They're the number 2 seed in the National League bracket, so they're through to the NLDS. The Milwaukee Brewers are the first team to clinch their division in the entire Major League Baseball, and they won the NL Central on September 18th. They are the 3rd seed. They'll play the 6th seed, as I mentioned before, in the National League. The Padres clinched the top wild card that the Diamondbacks had, so they are the 4 seed, and they will host a wild card series versus the 5 seed in the National League. And beyond that, the New York Yankees on the American League side, they clinched the American League East title and the number 1 seed with the best record in the American League. They are on to the ALDS. The Cleveland Guardians clinched the AL Central and the number 2 seed, which means that they automatically move on into the DS and don't have to play in the AL wildcard. The Houston Astros clinched the AL West title and the number 3 seed. They will host a wildcard series against the number 6 seeded Detroit Tigers. The Baltimore Orioles.
Go Tigers.
Yeah, there you go. Mm-hmm. And the Baltimore Orioles clinched the top wildcard seed in the American League. They are the 4 seed. They will host the 5th seeded Kansas City Royals. And of course, with that being said, Kansas City is the 5, Detroit is the 6. Thoughts?
I probably should have said go Tigers a little better. I didn't do my best Coach O impression there. It was kind of supposed to be an under the breath type thing, but
yeah,
I know you were gonna. I sounded like you were about to ask me my thoughts on that, but
Yeah.
so I'm gonna kind of
Coach
answer the
Coach O,
question here.
go
Yeah.
Tigers, go
Go
Tigers,
Tigers.
go Tigers.
Speaking of Coach O, I wouldn't mind him being the Gators' next head coach, but at this point, I would take anybody over Billy Napier. At least we got to sit at home, not play this week, and watch Alabama and Georgia kill each other. So that was fun.
Yeah, you
Um,
could not lose this week.
I mean, we could. One of the teams actually won, so the best case scenario would have been both teams lose.
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
I mean, you could not physically, as the
oh yeah,
Gators, lose this week.
100%. No, but the Tigers are going to be a team to watch in the postseason. I know they're going into Houston. I know Houston's been to the ALCS the last, I think it's 7 years. I think 2017 was the first one they went to. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. They've been there 7 consecutive years. This year would be 8 if they make it back to the ALCS again. So this is not the matchup the Tigers were looking for, but the Houston's been iffy this year. Their lineup's not as good. Their pitching staff hasn't been as good. You know, they're probably going to lose Alex Bregman in free agency this year. This might be their last hurrah for a little while. Now, I still see them getting back. They develop prospects well. They have a solid enough pitching development. They have a good pitching lab. So I don't necessarily see them, folding at any point next year. But they've got to think like we're probably, if we don't make it back to the World Series and win it this year, we might not have a chance for a little while.
Yeah.
Because of the likely loss of Alex Bregman. And I think he's definitely he has to be a free agent. I know he's a free agent. I don't know why I'm questioning this. But yeah, Detroit, funny enough, they were a team that sold at the deadline. They traded Jack Flaherty at the deadline.
Yeah.
They were done. They were done. They were looking at next year. They were waiting to see what draft pick they were going to get, see who they could pick up in the draft, and they were looking ahead to the next year. See what's available in free agency. Yet they've been the hottest team in baseball since the end of August. Throughout the entire month of September, they were on a gnarly run. The only problem that I see with this, and it happens every year, some team comes into the playoffs absolutely scalding hot, that got hot too soon, that gets bounced in the first round. If you remember the Cleveland Indians back, I want to say it was maybe 2019, won, I think it was 22 or 21, 22 games in a row, lost their first game like the third to last game of the season. It was literally like their first loss in September. And then they got bounced in the first round by the Yankees. So it was one of those things where like they got way too hot, way too soon. Right? So,
yeah,
it probably is part of what hurt the Diamondbacks. Because remember, the Diamondbacks were one of the hottest teams in baseball from about late July till the beginning of September.
Yeah.
They cooled off at the wrong time.
Well,
and that's kind of what made them fall down in the standings, and that's kind of been their detriment. But hey, they still got a shot to get in.
Yeah, they had themselves in a place where they came out as the hottest team in the second half of the season. They won 8 straight series coming out of the All-Star break, 9 in a row if you went back to the end of the first half of this 2024 season, speaking of the Diamondbacks. So they have had an incredible run, and I think that, people didn't expect it last year, and then this year it was like, okay, well, we're not seeing a team that's going to do it twice, and then all of a sudden they got hot again, and then I started thinking, myself included, okay, maybe they could do this again. Maybe this is a situation where the Diamondbacks are going to get hot again, they're going to stun again, they're going to be fun again. But, I would like to go back historically and look for myself to see when was the last time that the two teams that played in the World Series didn't make it to the following postseason. Because the Rangers won and they're out, and the Diamondbacks
That's interesting.
And the Diamondbacks are in a place where they have the potential of being out. So when was the last time that the two World Series teams didn't even make the playoffs the next year?
I don't know. Ooh, that is an interesting question. Because I'm trying to think back a few years. Because it wasn't in the 2020s. Because the Rays made the playoffs in 21. 2019 National. Now Houston made the playoffs. 16, 15. No, Mets made the playoffs. So did the Royals. 14, no. Who did the Red Sox beat in 2013? Cardinals, I think.
I'm looking at the brackets right now.
Man,
Yeah.
that is a really good question.
When is the last time?
2012. I think the Giants made the playoffs after. 2011, no. The first one that's coming to my head is 2007, but I don't think that's right. Because I think the Red Sox made the playoffs in 08.
So they did, and I was thinking 2008.
Okay.
I was thinking 2008-9, but it's actually a reversal because in 2008 the Phillies won, and then in 2009 the Yankees won, but the Phillies still made it, and the Red Sox made it. So
2000. Wait. Sorry, go ahead.
no,
I was just thinking out loud.
So I'm looking at that and I'm saying to myself, okay, so if that didn't change, then in 2010 the Yankees still made it after they won. Oh, you know what? This might be it. This might be it. This might be it. Hold on, let me see. Is this it? Okay. Okay, so I did find one. So now
2011?
So 2000, yeah, so 2010, the San Francisco Giants won the World Series. In 2011, they did not have a postseason berth. So,
But they beat the Rangers that year?
so back in 2010,
But did the Rangers make the playoffs? That's the question.
so the Rangers, I don't believe they did. So San Francisco beat the Texas Rangers, and then in 2010, and then in 2011 they did make it. So that's only half.
So that's not it.
That's half of what we're looking for.
Yep.
So folks, if you know, send it in. But what we are
I'm still trying to I want to figure this out.
What we're doing right now is,
my next guess would be 2005.
Yeah. So what we are currently doing is we are looking at when was the last time that the two teams that were in the World Series playing each other both did not get into the postseason the following year. So when was the last time the two teams that fought for the World Series in the next year did not make the postseason?
Wait, I might have found it.
So that one's.
Did they make the playoffs?
So that's Yankees Marlins. Then the Yankees made it the next year. I feel like maybe it's this year.
It's 2005. I don't believe the White Sox made the playoffs in 06. I know Houston didn't.
Okay, so Arizona won. I think I found one. So this might, but yours would be more recent. So let me just make sure that I'm. No, they did. They made it. Okay. So 2005, the World Series was played between the White Sox and the Houston Astros, and the White Sox won it. And in 2006,
that is the answer.
In 2006, did the White Sox make the postseason?
They did not.
No. Did the
I'm looking at it
Astros
right
make
now.
the postseason? No. So 2005,
So 2005.
2006 looks to be our answer of the last time that neither teams that played in the World Series, not just the winning team, but neither teams that played in the World Series made it to the postseason the following year. And this year, if the Diamondbacks don't make it, then the Rangers who won the World Series and the Diamondbacks who played in the World Series in 2023 would both not qualify for the playoffs this year. The last time it happened looks to be 2005, 2006, where the White Sox played the Astros and the White Sox won the World Series, and then the White Sox and the Astros both did not qualify the next year for the postseason.
That's
crazy.
I had a feeling that was one that could have been up there, but I wasn't sure because I knew Houston didn't make the playoffs in 04 because because the Mets were in the playoffs that year. And the Mets beat the Dodgers and the Cardinals, and I was fairly confident that Houston did not make the playoffs out of the Central because the Cardinals made the playoffs in the Central. But yeah, it was that was interesting. That's crazy that hasn't happened in getting on close to 20 years.
Yeah. That the two teams that played in the World Series against each other in the immediate following postseason, neither made it to the postseason because this year the reigning champion Rangers are out and the Diamondbacks could be out to join the 2005-06 scenario where the White Sox and the Astros played for the World Series in 2005. The White Sox won, and in 2006, neither team even sniffed the playoffs. So, pretty crazy, but it was something I was thinking about today because of the situation that we're currently in. And I think it's very interesting, too, that the Diamondbacks, in the postseasons that they've made, they've had all types of different logos. So you go back and you look at it, and it's like they had the purple and teal A. They had the Diamondback D snake. Then they had the one that they have now. So it's just crazy to look at some of this stuff and see how over the years they've changed the Astros too. But there may be, oh no, because they did make the wild card. I was gonna say there's some that came so close to being the answer to this, but it looks like 2005, 2006 is the last time. We got a bunch of people on here that are cheering on the Mets. We got a Phillies fan here that's loving on the Phillies. So it all comes down to this today, folks. I wanted it to come. I wanted to get to today because I wanted these games to actually matter and count for something. And so today, baseball fans will be watching. I think it's going to be, obviously the Mets fans will be watching. The Braves fans will be watching. The Diamondbacks fans will be watching. But I think baseball is going to pay attention to this game because this
all
is
of baseball will.
Right. Because this is fun. These are games that count. They're the only two teams playing. First game.
It was like the Raiders-Chargers game. Everybody watched it because of the playoff implications.
Yeah, and I like how it was like, hey, if we tie, we both go. And the Chargers were like, F your couch. So like, but it was they were like, yeah, we're not doing that. That's divisional rivalry.
I think the Raiders won that game, didn't they?
Yeah, well, they went. I'm trying to remember. Did the Raiders win that game?
I'm pretty sure the Raiders won because it was Daniel Carr. Yes, it was because Daniel Carlson kicked the field goal with like 2 seconds left in overtime. So the Raiders were like, well, if he makes the kick, we're in, and we knock them out.
Yeah.
If he misses the kick, we're still in. So realistically, it was a win-win for them.
Because Justin Herbert, that was the game I decided he throws the best ball, arguably, in the nation. And I watched that game with Papa Joe.
Pretty sure. I'm fairly confident.
Because that was back in what, 2022? I think it was in 2022.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. It was not in 2022.
I thought it was 2020. I thought it was 2021.
So back in 2021, yeah, they lost 35-32 in overtime. In my brain, I don't know why I thought I think it's because it's because Herbert forced it to go into overtime. But
yep,
this game that game was truly like, okay, we're tied 32-32. Let's all just go to the playoffs. And the Raiders were the ones that said F your couch. But like that's I mean,
Yep.
that to me, and I remember sitting there saying to myself when people are like, why would they do that? I said, because you play to win the game. And, I mean, Al Davis,
Good
man.
job, Herm.
Al Davis, man, just win, baby. So I think that going back to that, it was like they're in the same division. They don't like each other. They're doing no favors. And I hope that happens today. So I really hope that they're like, NL East, I don't want to tie you. I don't want to go 1-1. I want to sweep you because I don't like you and you're my division and I want to be the one that knocks you out. So
the thing is,
Mets and Braves got to get passionate
if
about
if a team does sweep the second game, they'll be doing it with their bench. Right, like the Mets would not put Diaz in the ninth inning if he pitches game one. Even if he doesn't pitch game one and they win game one, they aren't going to put Diaz. They would never put Diaz in that situation. I mean, as much as I want it to happen, it's just it's the least likely scenario at this point, and it sucks, right? Because then your D-backs will be out. But I'm just rooting for one, right? Obviously, I love you, dude, but my team comes first. So I just need one. After that, whatever happens. I'll be rooting for my team in game 2 because that would mean your team gets in as well.
Yeah.
But I'm more worried about game 1 right now because if they win game 1, game 2 means nothing to us. So it's one of those things where if the Braves win game 1, I'm sorry, but I'll be rooting for my team. So if my team wins, your team's out, which would be unfortunate, but. Obviously my team comes first, so I gotta pull for my boys. That's the hope. But the hope is that they win game 1.
Yeah.
If they win game 1, then it's huge. Then we're really in business.
And the Diamondbacks have to sit and watch. So
that's gotta be such a demoralizing feeling. It's not like you even have any more games to play. Like it's completely out of your control.
But the thing is that teams do this every year. I mean, there's always a team left watching and hoping. Typically, I shouldn't say always.
Well, they started playing
the
last day of the season. They started playing every game at the exact same time at 3:00 Eastern.
Yeah, and how about this? The postseason begins on October 1st. It begins tomorrow. The postseason literally starts.
The Mets and Braves are screwed.
So it starts tomorrow.
If they didn't have to play these games, that would have been the best case scenario.
Yeah.
So that we would just go wherever, and the Braves would just go wherever, or the Diamondbacks would just go wherever.
Yeah.
But we're screwed.
Yeah.
But here's the real question: what do the Diamondbacks do? Do they fly to Milwaukee and just hope for the best, or do they wait?
I think that you have to wait. I mean, you do what you can do at home, and you plan the way that you plan. And
I think they all go. I think they probably go to the stadium and watch it on the big board.
Yeah, I mean, I think you put the work in today. You put your preparation in. You do the things that you could. I mean, this is the thing that's good for them is they know who they would be playing. It's not like they're saying, okay, we got to watch film on the Brewers and the Padres or whoever. It's like we know we're playing the Brewers if we get in. So we're going to look at what we did right, look at what we did wrong, look at what they have done, look at some changes they've made, assess the situation, break it all down, get our BP in, get our pitching in here, get comfortable, get some guys rehab, get some guys better, and
I think they get to the stadium early.
Be prepared.
They get to this. I think they have their practice during game 1 of this series.
Might as well.
So maybe what they should do is have the game on the big board as they're having their practice. And then obviously when they're done, just hang out and watch it and hope for the best.
Yeah. I mean, that's at this point, like I said, you know who you're playing, you know who to prepare for, you know what to get ready to do. You can control what you can control when it comes to practice and looking at film and all of that. So, they're as much as they're not in the driver's seat, they at least know who the competition would be, and they can go to practice and do their practice. Postseason begins.
Now, if they win game one,
yes.
if they were to win game one, well, actually, no. Doesn't it? So whoever wins game one, it doesn't really matter. But after game one, I don't know what the heck you do. Because if you practice during game one, you figure it's a 3-hour practice. You're done at 1 o'clock.
You watch game two.
You're done at 1 o'clock on the West Coast.
Yeah, you watch game two.
Actually, no. They wouldn't have to go until 11. Because technically, they're still in the Mountain Time zone. They're only 2 hours behind. You know what? I vividly remember this because when I drove into Arizona from Nevada, my clock went back and went forward an hour. And then when I went back to Nevada, it went backwards an hour. So they are in the Mountain Time zone.
They're 3 back.
Are they really in Phoenix?
Yeah, it's 6:46.
Are you sure?
It's 6:46 a.m. right now.
Oh. Well, okay then.
Yeah, because I remember going back and it was just treat it like West Coast. So.
Okay, that makes sense.
But yeah, no, you practice.
Maybe I'm wrong then.
You put the game on the board, you practice, and then you watch the second game together as a family, and you hope for the best. That's how I look at it with the Arizona Diamondbacks. The postseason begins on October 1st. To my other brother, Mr. Ross Turetsky, October 1st is his birthday, and he is a Yankee fan. So not only does he know tomorrow that he does not have to worry about the Yankees having to get through the wild card, but on his birthday, October 1st, Ross and all of us get to celebrate the postseason beginning for Major League Baseball. The postseason will
best
air
time of the year
on ABC, ESPN, ESPN2, Fox, Fox Sports 1, and TBS. This is what the playoff bracket looks like. The Yankees are the number 1 seed. They will play the winner of the 4-5 matchup, which is the Baltimore Orioles and the Kansas City Royals, respectively. The number 2 seed on the other side of the American League bracket finds the Cleveland Guardians advancing to the divisional round to face off against the winner of the 3-6, which is Houston and Detroit. In the National League, the number 1 seeded Los Angeles Dodgers will play the winner of the 4-5. The San Diego Padres are the 4, and the 5 seed will be decided today. Now, if the Mets sweep, the Mets will be the 5 seed. If the Braves sweep, the Braves will be the 5 seed. No matter what, if the Diamondbacks get in, they will be the 6 seed. But between the two of them, the Braves own the tiebreaker currently, so if they obviously win today, the Braves would be the 5. If there is a split in the series 1-1, the Braves would be the 5, and the Mets would be the 6 to face off against the 3-seeded Milwaukee Brewers, who would play the next round in the divisional series against a team that has already advanced, the Philadelphia Phillies. So that's how it sets up today, folks. The Mets could be the 5, the Mets could be the 6, the Braves could be the 5, the Braves could be the 6. The only thing the Diamondbacks can be is the 6. And we're going to find out by 7:30 p.m. Eastern time on the East Coast who is going to the postseason. And then guess what? It starts tomorrow. So I don't want to hear anybody saying, well, we got this and we got that. And
all I know is neither team should be doing press after this game, after game 2. Both teams shower on the bus to the airport, straight to your destination. Because let's just say it is a split.
Yeah.
The Mets have to go to Milwaukee, and the Braves have to go to San Diego. The sooner they get there, the sooner they get some sleep, the better.
Yeah.
Because the Mets would be the early game. Because they released the start times. Well, not the early game, but they released the start times. The Mets would be playing at 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock Eastern, which is 4 o'clock Central.
Yeah.
So
they'll
have the early turnaround. And then the Braves play at 8 o'clock Eastern in San Diego. If there was to be a split.
Yeah, and that's so. I mean, it actually bodes better in a weird scenario that the Mets or the Braves sweep, and then the Diamondbacks could be like, "Thanks for giving us a day off." So,
Yeah. All I know is the Brewers are probably chomping at the bit right now because if they get a split, they get to play the Mets again. They've taken 5 out of 6 from us this year.
yeah,
That that does not bode well for us. Because assuming there's a split,
yeah,
the only way they see Severino is if the Mets lose game 1 and win game 2. Because Severino is going to pitch game 2 if they don't win game 1. Same thing with the Braves with Sale. If the Braves don't win game 1, Sale has to pitch game 2 in order for them to keep their season alive. So San Diego wouldn't have to see Chris Sale. So this is a win-win for both of those teams. Because if both those teams get a split, it's just a matter of who wins the first game. Right? Because if, let's just say the Mets win the first game and then they end up winning the second game too,
yeah.
San Diego's got to see Severino, which obviously is not ideal for them. Or if there's a split, Milwaukee's got to see Severino if the Mets win game 1. If they win game 2, one of those teams is going to get a major advantage by not having to see an ace. Because I don't know who the heck's going to pitch game 1 if the Mets make the playoffs and have to win game 2 to do it. Because Mania can probably pitch game 2 because he'd be on regular rest for that. But I don't know who the hell's pitching game 1.
Yeah.
Because you figure, let's assume the worst case scenario or the second worst case scenario happens. That the Mets split, but they win game 2 in the split.
Mm-hmm.
Sevy's done. Like, you're not going to see Severino in the wild card series. Who the hell pitches game 1? Because McGill pitched Sunday. McGill would have pitched game 1. Peterson pitched Sunday. Quintana pitched Saturday. Mania pitched Friday. I mean, do you bring Mania back on short rest? Like, you'd have to bring all these guys back on short rest. They may have to. Joey Lucchesi may have to start game 1, or they may have to go with a bullpen game.
Joey Fugazi. No, I'm kidding.
I don't know what the heck they're gonna do.
Yeah.
The best case scenario for the Mets is winning game 1. I think that's the best case scenario for either team is winning game 1. Because if you win game 1, you're pitching.
Yeah, of course,
if you win game 1, you're gonna have better pitching matchups.
Right.
And you know you're in.
And you know who's going to be in. I mean, that's the most important part is winning you're in.
Yeah.
So.
Because assuming we win game 1, Sevy's pitching tomorrow.
Yeah.
Mania would pitch game 2. Quintana would pitch game 3. Our rotation would be set. 2 and 3 would be set. But the problem is, who the hell pitches game 1 if you have to burn Severino in game 2?
You know,
and the same could be said about the Braves. Who do you pitch in game 2 if you've got to burn Sale?
Do you know what would be the absolute worst case scenario? Is if the
Mets getting swept.
No, the first game today going to extra innings. So,
oh yeah. Imagine both games go to extra innings.
That would be the worst case scenario.
Actually, the worst case scenario for the Diamondbacks is a rain out.
Okay, let me just say something about New York City and what's been going on. It rained.
Keep in mind, this series is in Atlanta.
Well, yes, true. So, but I want to say something to New York City in the area is I'm thankful because it rained there all weekend. So Atlanta's got a shot of this being fine and getting this series done with.
Well, let's see what the weather looks like in Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah, hopefully it's looking...
I thought I saw yesterday it just said partly cloudy all day.
Oh, my goodness. I'm getting trash talked right now on text message.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Everybody's going to come
mostly
to play
cloudy
today.
in Atlanta.
Everybody's going to come to play today. But, it's taking a look at where we are right now. I want to do the head-to-heads here because this is important. Because keep in mind that the Milwaukee Brewers are playing. The Milwaukee Brewers are also in a situation where they are currently watching film potentially on 3 franchises. They don't know if they're
I don't
playing.
really think they need to watch film on the Mets because they just played them.
They don't know if they're playing the Diamondbacks. They don't know if they're playing the Mets. They don't know if they're playing the Braves. The Milwaukee Brewers are in a place today where they're just trying to figure it out. Now, the San Diego Padres, they don't know if they're playing the Mets, and they don't know if they're playing the Braves. So, taking a look, they will not play the Diamondbacks again, which is good for them because they play in division. So, that is better for both sides. Now, looking at Milwaukee, the Milwaukee Brewers up against the Braves, they have a 4-2 advantage. They played the Braves twice in 2-3 game series in the second half of this season, and the Braves just lost all 3 at home to Milwaukee after winning 2 of 3 in Milwaukee. Now, as much as that's good overall for Milwaukee, you have to look at the fact that Atlanta played you better on the road. So, and that's where Atlanta will be playing. As far as the Milwaukee Brewers go against the Diamondbacks, taking a look at Arizona's. So Arizona.
I know we lost 5 out of 6, so that one's pretty simple.
Yeah, so
we just played the Milwaukee terrible all year.
Right, and you just played them most recently, so you went.
You want to know something funny about that? They were our very first series of the year, and we got swept. Yeah. And they were our last series of the year.
And you won again.
And lost 2 out of 3.
Yeah. So you're fine. So the Mets are 1-5 against the Brewers. The Braves are 2-4. The Diamondbacks won 2 out of 3, and then in September, and then played them again in a 4-game series and lost to them at home. Something about these teams that play Milwaukee in Milwaukee win, and then when they play Milwaukee at home in their place, they lose. The Diamondbacks went 1-3 at home against Milwaukee in the second half of the season, but they went 2-1 against Milwaukee when they went on the road. So looking at that current record for them, that would give them 3 wins and 4 losses against the Milwaukee Brewers in the second half of the season for the Diamondbacks. So going 3-4 against them, and I'm just double checking here my numbers, and yeah, so that's it. So the Diamondbacks had the best record against the Brewers this season. So the Diamondbacks went 3-4, the Braves went 2-4, the Mets went 1-5 against them. Now looking at the San Diego Padres, knowing that they would be playing either the Braves or the Mets, if we go back and look at the San Diego Padres, who you talk about a hot team that maybe has not gone red hot yet and could be getting hotter in the postseason. If we go and we look at the San Diego Padres in the first half of the season and go through here as far as Mets and Braves games, they played the Braves in what was supposed to be a 4-game series and they just had to postpone and move a game. So they actually played a doubleheader against them, ironically. So against the Braves on the road, they went 3-1. The Padres did against them in that series. So they had a 3-1 series, and then they lost 3 in a row to the Mets in the first half of the season. So
I forgot we swept the Padres.
Yeah, so they went 3-1 against the Braves, and then they went 0-3, and those were both on the road. 3-1 against the Braves, 0-3 against the Mets in their first series against each other. Then they played the Braves again at home. They went 1-2, which means that they were 3-3 against the Braves, speaking of the Padres, in the first half of the season. In the second half of the season for the San Diego Padres, looking at the fact that after today we could find out who they're playing, be it the Mets or the Braves, and no matter what, it will be the Mets or the Braves. It cannot be the Diamondbacks. They can only get the 6th seed. So taking a look at San Diego in the second half of the season, they played the Mets in a 4-game series and went 2-2 at home with the Mets. So that means that the Mets had a record of 2-5 against the San Diego Padres, and that was it. So
5-2.
Wait, what did I say?
Because we swept them, didn't we?
No, you went 0-3 against them.
Oh, they swept us.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
I was gonna say, like, why don't I remember us sweeping the Padres?
No. So
because we didn't.
Yeah. So the Padres playing the Braves or the Mets in the postseason will play a team in the Braves, which they split the season 3-3, or they will be playing up against the Mets, who they have won the regular season series 5-2, with the Mets getting 2 out of 4 games they won in August. In the latter part of August, the Mets went 2-4 against them on the road, and then San Diego on the road swept the Mets before. So the better record is against the Mets 5-2 and 3-3 against the Braves. So the Padres have to be prepared for both of these teams, of course, and knowing that they have a better head-to-head against those New York Metropolitans. So we'll see. We'll see which one they end up getting, but the Braves look to be literally an even matchup in a 3-3 overall series there. But we shall see, because we know teams get hot. We know the Diamondbacks beat the Dodgers last year, so everything is up for grabs. Who would you rather play, Murph? If you're the Mets, would you rather play the Brewers or the Padres?
Brewers, all day. I mean, I know we're 1-5 against them this year, but they always say that the postseason is a different animal, right? The Brewers have an issue of losing in the first round of the postseason. They haven't gotten past the wild card series at all, or the NLDS at all, at least recently. So I think now, obviously, the Brewers are going to trying to, get the monkey off their back and win that. But, San Diego's arguably the hottest team in baseball right now. If it's not them, it's the Detroit Tigers. I would rather go back to Milwaukee, in part because you've seen these guys already.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they beat you 2 out of 3, but pitchers can make adjustments, hitters can make adjustments. It's a short period of time. You can easily make that change. San Diego, I do not want to see them, at least not yet. I don't want to see them till the NLCS if we get there. But I'm not trying to think that far ahead.
Yeah.
Realistically, I'm focused on today. We need to win one game and get in. But I'm nervous though, man. I'm nervous as hell. This is not what I was envisioning for my Monday afternoon. Thank God I don't have to work today. Otherwise, I would be like in a full-scale panic. I feel bad for Mets fans that have to work today. But yeah, I'll be watching the game. I think my dad's gonna come home early from work to watch them. I mean, these are basically playoff games.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, like if you lose these games, you're out. Right? You split, you're good. Yeah. You got to win one. But if you lose both, you're done. And apparently the Braves are out for blood. I saw that on Twitter that the Braves want to sweep.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't think there's going to be any sort of gentleman's agreement on this. Now, still, the winner of game 1 will not throw their horse. Right? They're not going to, like, the Mets won't throw Sevy if they win game 1. The Braves won't throw Sale if they win game 2. But it sounds like most of their regulars will be in the lineup. So, who the heck knows what's going to happen there? But yeah, I mean, it looks like both teams want to make this tough on each other. And I don't blame them. I mean, these two teams hate each other. I hate the Braves. The Braves, Braves fans hate the Mets. Yeah, it is, it is what it is. But I'm just nervous, man. Like, I woke up this morning. I had to take my car into the shop. I got to go pick it up later. But I woke up just like so nervous about these two games.
Yeah. 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 I mean, here's the thing, though. I'm not taking this shirt off. And
I don't blame you.
And people that know me know that I support my teams all the time. I remember people like my team, like whoever would lose in the playoffs, and then I would just like go out the next day in the same sweatshirt, and they're like, "You're really gonna you're still gonna wear that?" And I was like, "Yeah," because when you're a fan, you're an everyday fan, not a when they win fan, not when it's good fan, not when I like it fan. You are a fan every single day. Because it's like, oh, well, don't you think someone's going to like poke at you, make fun at you, this and that? I'm like, if you're my team, I rock with you. If I got you, I got you. And that is how I feel. I mean, my brothers know that. My friends that have become family, they know that. Like, if I rock with you, I rock with you. and that's just, that's how I look at life. So I will be wearing my Diamondbacks shirt, probably underneath a sweatshirt when I go to the Syracuse press conference today with Fran Brown. But if it's warm in there, then Fran's gonna know that I'm an Arizona fan. So I mean, that's just how it's got to be.
He doesn't already know?
He might. He may very well know. Fran and I.
So when you guys aren't talking about Syracuse football, like what do you chat about? You chat about like NFL? You chat about baseball? Anything else?
Him and I, we talk about faith. We talk about faith a lot. We talk about kind of like the bigger things and important stuff. But
did you give him some good spots to go to eat in Syracuse?
Yeah. So I told him, I was like, you let me know when you're ready, because I know there's a place that he goes to, and I don't knock that place by any stretch of the imagination. They need to pronounce Italian food correctly, but I don't knock the place for it. Like, it's a good place, and But I told him, I said, if you want some places, I got some places that, and I tell people that all the time. If you're coming into Central and Upstate New York, you're coming into Syracuse, whatever people have told you, whatever they have said, like what you saw on TV, if you want to go, just like they tell you not to go to Pat's and Gino's when you go to Philly, and like that's the tourist place, but this is where you go. When you come into my city, I know where to take you. I know where to go. It may not be on this. It may not be on the Trip Finder or Advisor, and it may not whatever. But if you want the best of the best, I got a barbecue spot. I got Italian spots. Really, you name it, we got it, and I will find it. So we got some really, really, truly amazing places. And yeah, so anybody that's coming in that needs some help, let me know, because what you have heard may not necessarily be your best option. I will say one that is talked about, though, that is every bit of it, and I'm not saying this because I work with them. I'm saying this because when I want breakfast and I want to eat good and like get really anything, and it's awesome, including lunch, because their cheeseburgers are so very good as well, and so is their chicken. I mean, everything's good there. Is I will say that Mother's Cupboard gets a lot of pub, and Mother's Cupboard is like, that's the place where I break bread with a lot of the people that I care about. It's where a lot of coaches and I sit and have our little powwows. So I'm going to shout out the Mother's Cupboard for sure. Brian's Landing. I mean, if you want like the best dessert in your life that will make you reconsider everything that you've known, you got to get the butter cake at Brian's Landing, because
I still love Wildcat though.
Yeah,
I love that place, man.
Well, and the Wildcat, best fried dough in the city, and I'll fight anybody on that. So
I love that. I mean, Pizza Man's pizza was pretty good too.
Yeah.
I mean, all the spots you work with though, dude, that you've taken me to, like they're all really good. Like and obviously like the Wildcat's not known for pizza, but their pizza was pretty banging too. Their wings were really good, and their pizza slaps, and their fries are very good. And then the Pizza Man. Did we get wings that night? I don't remember when we went to Pizza Man.
I feel
like we did.
Yeah, because I always get my extra crispy lemon peppers.
Yeah, I don't know for sure if I did. I know I had pizza there. I don't remember if I got wings, but I know we watched the Alabama Georgia SEC championship game there. That was I mean hey, I'm always good. I'm always happy for good food.
Oh yeah.
Right. Good wings, good pizza. Those are the spots where I'm just like, if you got good wings or good pizza, like it's a place for me. Right. So like when you came down to me and I took you to Scorecard, or like they've got the best wings in our area, like without a doubt. I usually don't get bone-in wings very often anymore. That is one of the few places that I will get them.
Yeah.
Because they're that good. They're fried perfectly and everything.
Yeah.
Barley for their beer, obviously. I love their stuff. You love the burger at Timbers.
And the fries, yeah.
And the fries. I actually was at Timbers on Saturday night with my one of my buddies. We went into the little, it's not really a nightclub, but little dive bar in the basement with a pool table, and we played pool for a little bit, had a couple drinks.
Yeah.
So that was fun. But yeah, like all the places you've taken me to up there, even the one little pizza place that we just happened to go to that was by Carvel DeWitt.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Which place was that? Even
Mario,
that place was even their pizza was good.
Mario and
I
Salvo's.
liked it.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
But
I
it's
mean,
New York.
yeah. I
I'm
mean,
sure most of the places up there import the water from New York City.
yeah. I mean,
So,
there.
like, it's freaking awesome.
The reality is, I don't work with any slouches, and the team that we have, I thank God for every day. And that team, and I'm going to bring them up here on your screen, and I'll tell them to you that are watching on the radio. Or watching on the radio, listening on the radio. Y'all know what I mean. It's Monday. So, our incredible partners in Central and Upstate New York, Carvel DeWitt, the longest standing Carvel franchise in America. And that's where I have my own Sunday. I know my grandparents up in heaven are looking down happy with that because they love Carvel. The Wildcat, a tremendous place, just an awesome experience. And we do live shows there every month. Servomation, totally recreating whatever you thought a vending machine was supposed to be, whatever, that rotating tuna salad, all of those things. Like, it's foggy, it looks old, I don't want anything in here, who put this food in here, how long have these candy bars been here? Servomation is the difference. When you walk and you tour their facility, you see their technology, you see their massive kitchen, you see the different opportunities of flavors that they have in the variety of food that they have. There is something awesome about Servomation. That's why I would love to have their vending machines literally everywhere. I know they're in a bunch of places. You should check them out at servomation.com. Mother's Cupboard, where I have my sandwich, the Q-Smack Mother, bacon, egg, and cheese inside of 2 pieces of French toast. Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Campground Dog Boarding, the only place I would tell you to bring your dog for short and long-term care. Chick-fil-A Cicero, I love Jimmer to pieces. I wanted a Chick-fil-A here for over a decade, and he made that possible. And to the Sikowski family and the entire team at Chick-fil-A Cicero, I can't thank them enough, and I absolutely love working with Chick-fil-A. Ma and Pa's, the snack capital of the world. If you want to hit every taste bud in an hour, go to Ma and Pa's. GG Cards and Breaks. They are my sports card shop of choice, my trading card shop of choice. They're my people. I love going over there. Avicoli's, the Grandma's Pie. I've never tasted anything like it, and that's coming from an Italian who's had a lot of pizza. Pizza Man, people know what I get. My Sweet Heat Pizza. And because they were using Mike's Hot Honey before the rest of the world decided to do it. As far as I know, they've been doing it for like 6 years. And they met the owner of Mike's Hot Honey. And of course, those lemon peppers I love. Brian's Landing, I just had the maple glazed pork ribeye, and I suggest you watch that video on facebook.com and youtube.com, both /Wake Up Call DT. There's a
I just heard steak and I
Yeah.
immediately interested.
Yeah. So Brian's Landing, they genuinely do, like, everything on their menu is different, and it makes you feel like you're on vacation. So to Brian's Landing, of course, Lemoyne, Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse, Binghamton University for believing in my mission and my vision for what a multimedia marketing partnership can be and should be and will grow to be. And then, of course, Brooklyn Pickle down in Southern Pines on 1788 Old Morganton Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina, right by Pinehurst Golf Course. If you see, I changed around the logos here, and there's a gap between Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Brian's Landing. That gap is going to be filled tomorrow morning. At 9 a.m. Eastern Time, that gap will be filled with a place that is different from every single place on your screen. And it is a place I am absolutely bringing Murph to when he comes to town.
Well, I won't have too much time when I'm up there for your party, but I'll be up there in just, what is that, going to be 6 weeks, right?
Something like that.
6 weeks?
6 weeks.
Well, that's also if I end up doing the thing we talked about yesterday and end up flying to Tampa that night. But that's not like set in stone or anything yet. I might not even do that. So, but either way, I'm going to have a rental car up there because I'll be flying back from North Carolina to Syracuse.
Yeah.
So I kind of planned that in a way where I only have to do the drive once. instead of up and back, I just got to go back.
Yeah.
So that won't be too bad. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And yeah, I was already hungry to begin with. Now I'm really hungry.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know what, like I'm gonna have to pick something up for lunch on the way home from picking up my car later, but whew.
See, what I did is I made homemade tacos. I've been doing this thing like for football Sunday. I make homemade tacos or tostadas. I've made nachos before. So I have my seasoned chicken ready to go, seasoned turkey ready to go. I have shrimp that I can make, and all of my fixins. So I can definitely house some tacos
I
before.
could also make pasta though, because I probably should make lunch for this week.
Yeah.
So I can make pasta and then eat whatever I want, and then I'll save. What I'll usually do is I'll make 2 pounds worth of rigatoni, eat whatever I eat, and then the rest of it gets put in Tupperware to take to work the rest of the week.
Yeah, Murph has been known to eat a pound of pasta in a night.
That is 100% factual. That is 100% factual. I've also been known to eat an entire large pizza.
Yeah.
Um, Pound of ground beef with chips. Basically, I call it tacos, but everybody else probably call them nachos.
Yeah.
Let's see. Uh, 16-ounce steak. That's a big one. That's if you've never tried to have a 16-ounce steak, it's big.
Yeah. I feel
Big
like
one.
when you're hungry, your eyes are like, yeah, give me that. And then you look at it and you're like, I'm going to take
And
home
then you go to
half
eat
of
it and you're
this.
just like, nope.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know what the heck I'm gonna get myself for lunch, but I'm hungry. I don't know if you could hear it coming through the mic. I could hear it in my headset.
Yeah.
My stomach was rumbling before, and I could hear it clear as day coming through the mic. I don't know if you could. I don't know if you guys could hear it, but yeah, I typically when we go on Monday mornings, I usually just roll right out of bed 15 minutes prior, take a quick shower, and then we're hopping on and we're good. Today I was actually up earlier and yet I didn't eat.
Yeah.
I was up earlier to take my car to get an oil change, which I got the text that it's done, so I got to go get it after we get off the air. Um, but I didn't eat on my way home. I I had some stuff to do and I was printing some shipping labels and everything, and didn't get around to it. So
Yeah.
I'll eat later. I'll
See,
get away with it.
yeah, I'm notorious for making myself like extremely hungry in the studio talking about food and then having to
Oh
go
my God.
get it or make it. But
Right away.
Yeah, Jerry said, remember Hank's hoagies.
Yes. Oh my God. So my house at Marywood was literally right across the street.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if I have a picture of, I thought I might have taken a picture once outside across the street to Hank's Hoagies, but I don't remember. I'm thinking I probably didn't. But yeah, my house was quite literally directly across the street from Hank's.
Yeah.
It was that second house down the street on Woodlawn, right across the street. Um, so that was come on. Do I really not have a picture of that? I know I have a picture of the house.
Hank's hoagies. So while Murph
And
looks for it,
I really don't like it's I got a steak sandwich from there once. That was
yeah,
really the only time I went and got food from there. Um, but yeah, like it was right across the street. It was pretty dark. It was pretty cool. A couple of
yeah,
my roommates went and got lunch there all the time, like a lot. So because it
yeah.
was literally it was convenience.
I
You walk
remember
across the street and you're there.
I remember Ned's Bakery. I could walk there growing up, and it was like $5-6 for a full sub, and they put at least a half a pound of meat in the sub plus all your fixins. And if half of your sub fell out, you still had a full sub, more than what you would get somewhere potentially now, and then you could take everything that fell out and put it in a baggie and use it for lunch meat to make sandwiches for the rest of the week. Like, not only was it the best sub ever in the world, arguably with my sub from elementary school at Our Lady of Pompeii, because whatever those ladies did in the kitchen, it was great. But those two subs, I like people, they're like Wegmans, and Wegmans subs are good, but Ned's was better than Wegmans. And I'd put Ned's up against anybody. Like everything about, I could have gone to Ned's every day of my life. And I'm sad that it's gone. And I'd love for somebody to bring it back. We miss you, Ned's. But the price was right. The food was right. The quality, the everything. And Murph and I are going to take a step aside for a fast break so that we can calm our down and get ready for the rest of the show. College football.
We still got football to talk about.
Yeah. Who's hungry? We're going to find out. Them Bulldogs, they have been trying to eat. They've been undefeated. Alabama's been undefeated. 2 undefeated teams in the SEC. The Dogs and the Tide. And the Tide roll all over them Dogs. And we'll talk about that and more right after this fast break on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You are watching DT and Murphy to start off your week as always. And we'll be back with you after you hear from these amazing and wonderful places. Here's a message from Renee from Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York. Open Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and Sundays for brunch.
It's a lot like the way that my mom and dad ran their restaurant. We have put in place a lot of people that are family to us, very similar to how my dad hired people that were family to him. And then the tradition I'm carrying on is a lot of the items that are on our menu are my dad's. And he taught our chefs how to recreate his dishes. So I think that Tommy McNerney, who our executive chef is, to him it is an art. And I think that when he does create a dish, it's not just about making the food taste delicious, which is definitely our priority, but it's an art to him, and it's almost like his canvas on a plate where he just wants the colors to look great, and people love it because he takes pride in that. And Bryan and I appreciate that. We want it to obviously look good and taste good. I will tell you, when we opened up, it was 6 weeks before COVID. And what was amazing was the community, our friends and family stepped up, and everybody did takeout. Everybody supported us. Our hearts were just so filled. So to Bryan and I, obviously our friends come all the time, and we just have repeat customers in Jamesville, and I think people going to our previous restaurant in Green Lakes are making the trip to come to Bryan's Landing to support us. And I mean, I think we have great food and a great atmosphere. So it's very, very important to us.
Head to Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York, where memories have become recipes that are now meals to share with you. Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and on Sundays for brunch. And be sure to come out for live music Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Here is a special message from Brian Bruno, owner of Servomation Refreshments Incorporated.
I grew up in the family business, had the experience of working for a national food service company with thousands of employees, and as much as I enjoyed the experience I had, there's something about, owning my own company and being able to change the things I saw wrong with the industry firsthand, which is why I moved back to my hometown in Canastota, New York to launch Servomation. It was back in 2007. When we first started the business in 2007, really you didn't find any machines with credit card readers. There's a lack of variety in machines. You got stuck with basically whatever the vending company wanted to sell that day. There's a lot of inefficiencies in the business, and those were all things that we saw as opportunities, both from a customer level to improve and from an operating level to be more efficient. We've really been at the forefront of introducing retail technology into our space. We were doing self-checkout back in 2009 before it really became a national phenomenon. The whole point of it isn't to just improve the customer experience. It's to make it feel more like a retail environment where people don't have to be afraid of what they're buying behind glass. They don't have to be afraid of not being able to see the ingredients of the packages. It was an easy transaction from that standpoint. If we were to reinvent something, we wanted to make sure what we were making looked and felt more like a deli and not like something that you would traditionally see in a vending machine. I was tired of hearing for years the customers say the wheel of death because the vending machine would circle around with the same tuna salad in it. What we wanted to do was it really changed the perception of that food. So allowing customers to touch it, allowing customers to feel the weight of it, allow customers to see the freshness of it, and also the variety of it really helps them change the perception and ultimately the value of what we bring to them. The point of differentiation you have to make is either in value or the quality. And I think on both of those fronts, Servamation has really, in large part, changed that value system for employees. So they no longer have to worry about bringing their food from home or having to leave their desk during the day and rush out to get back in time for their break to end. We're bringing something that they can count on in their break room every day, and they know it's going to be there, they know it's going to be fresh, and they don't have to worry about it being sold out or something that they don't enjoy. We've also heavily invested in flavored water machine, so you can get a glass of water with a fresh piece of fruit in it, along with bean to cup coffee machine. So there's not a day that goes by we're not surprised when we get customers that call us and say, we didn't know you could do all this. We're really lucky to have a strong group of dedicated employees. Most of our employees have been with us since inception. They're family to us, and people like doing business with people they like and trust. And I think the same thing goes for employees. In a day and an age where there's a lot of corporations that just look at an employee as a number and don't get to know them, that's just not the way I was raised or how I like to do business. So we're a little old-fashioned. We like getting close to our employees. We like knowing how we can help them. We like knowing how we can improve their lives, adjust their schedules, whatever it may be to help improve their quality of life. And we think in the end that makes for a happier employee. We're fortunate enough to have really grown over the last several years, and from Pennsylvania to Massachusetts to Connecticut, we really do have a strong connection, even though we're not in the rooms every day with these employees. There's not one single employee that we feel like we don't know, and certainly we know they can call us at any time, and they're definitely treated as family to us. I wake up every single day really excited to surprise our customers in a good way. The one thing I could tell you is I think that every one of our employees and every one of our customers will continue to be at the forefront of every decision we make.
Find out how Servomation can help you and your business by going to servomation.com.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. Hanging out with you here on the broadcast, and of course, very happy to be here with you every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, and of course, just grateful for the opportunity to do what I love and love what I do by the grace of God. And I can't thank God enough for that. So many thanks to God for that. And thanks to waking me up this morning for sure. And waking up Murph and waking up all of you that are watching and listening. Appreciate y'all. College football is where we're going next. Something that I appreciate. Love watching college football. So college football in week 5, folks, has been adventurous. It's been exciting. And we are in a place, I can't even believe we're in week 5 already. It just flies by. The Army Black Knights, head coach Jeff Monken, who's been on the broadcast, and the crew, they are undefeated. That's right, baby. So Army is undefeated. First season inside of the American, mind you. And they've already played inside of the American, not just non-conference stuff. The Miami-Virginia Tech game, let's go there first. They called it a touchdown on a Hail Mary play. Virginia seemingly defeats Miami in Miami. Then the officials look at it and somehow declared that they had irrefutable evidence to overturn the call, which means that the Hokies, that I think are a lot better than people give them credit for, fall to 2-3 on the season, and Miami goes to 5-0. Murphalation for the nation. Thoughts on the Hail Mary that looked like it was ruled a touchdown, and normally whatever something was ruled on the field, without irrefutable evidence, it does not change. In the case of the Miami Hurricanes, it did change. The wind literally went in their favor. Your thoughts?
That was interesting, to say the least. I don't think I've ever seen that before where a play had literally. I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong because I didn't see the slow motion replays. It didn't look like that there was much evidence to overturn it. Right? It seemed as though like it was close, but the call was just going to stand, and that was going to be that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. Maybe they had the refs in their favor, but who knows? It's one of those things where Virginia. I mean, you could argue Virginia Tech got screwed. I'm sure Virginia Tech fans don't feel all that good, and they probably think they got screwed.
Yeah.
But it was a close play regardless, right? I mean, that one could have gone either way. I don't think it should have necessarily been overturned, but you know, that's why they get paid the big bucks, and we're here to comment on it, right?
Yeah.
So it's one of those weird scenarios where there's not a whole lot of stuff that we can really do, but yeah, I guess now so Miami's 5-0, Virginia Tech 2-3. I've always had a little bit of a soft spot for Virginia Tech, being my cousin Richie goes there or went there, and was on their scout team for their football team for a little bit and dressed for senior day when he was a senior. He was in the ROTC program there for a few years, so I've always kind of had a little bit of a soft spot for Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, it's a weird one for sure. I can't really go too much into detail because I don't know what was going through their minds when they were reviewing that play, but like I said, that's why they get paid the big bucks, and we're just here to talk about it.
And that's literally when there feels like there's 3 teams on the field. When the 2 teams that played the game had to sit and wait for a decision to declare if the game was over or not. I'm watching it right now again, and my whole thing was, how could they even rule this a touchdown prior to? That was my thing, was how can this even be called a touchdown? Because it just looks, I mean, he's coming down. There's all these people there. It looks like he's in bounds, but like the ball's kind of moving. And when I first saw this, and I've looked at it a bunch of times here, but when I first saw it, I was like, where does the official go, oh, this is a touchdown? But again, irrefutable evidence. Did he have irrefutable evidence? I would say no matter how many times I watch this, I'm like, what is this?
I didn't think it was a touchdown in real time. Like seeing the replay the first time, I didn't think it was a touchdown.
Yeah.
Because the ball was moving. Right? Like that, I mean, you can't really, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That ball was moving.
Yeah.
You had no idea who had that ball on the ground. Nor could you even see if he got a foot down. So, how you could rule that's a touchdown in the first place and then be able to go in and say, okay, we have indisputable evidence that we can overturn this and say that it's not a touchdown.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was just a bad look by the refs all the way around.
It wasn't. This was not a good. And see, the thing is, like, my knee-jerk reaction was, if this was Georgia or Alabama, and they ruled it a touchdown, it would have been a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I look at it. And that's no offense to those teams. That's just, I feel like, do you really think we're going to see that get overturned? Do you think we're going to see Michigan Hail Mary get overturned? I feel like there's been times where Syracuse, they'll like review a blatant touchdown and the refs will review it. And
wait a minute.
And then and then another team will play, and the team playing against them will have like a questionable call and they won't say anything.
I never saw this angle. Like,
there's multiple.
It was okay. Now I can see why they ruled it a touchdown at first. I never saw this angle.
Because it comes
The
in and
Virginia
he
Tech
sits down
player
with it.
had it in his arms.
Yeah, it comes down with it, but then it like bobbles, but then he tries to gather it back in, and he's sitting on the ground.
I mean, he was definitely in bounds. Like,
Well,
I think
you have to
I
have
don't know.
control. You have to have control, and you have to have 1 foot down inbounds in college.
Well, he was definitely in bounds. He was 100% in bounds because he was nowhere near the back line.
Right, but the
But
question is, did he
the
have
angle
control?
I just saw, which was like literally down the back line looking directly at him, it looked like when he was sitting on the ground, he had the ball. And then the guy from Michigan ripped it out of his hands. That's what it looked like. It's hard to tell because I didn't see that angle before. I only saw the high up angle. This was like a close up shot of it that I just saw on Twitter. So I hadn't seen that angle yet. But that angle makes it look more and more like it was a touchdown. And that they overturned it. Why, I don't know. But who knows? I'm sure Virginia Tech fans are not happy about that, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
I don't think there was enough evidence to overturn it. I mean, do I think it was a touchdown in regulation? Watching that, yeah. But I don't know. That's why I'm not a referee.
Yeah. Well, I'm putting up a poll right now for y'all on our.
It's like the Des Bryant catch or no catch, or the
that was a catch. That was a catch.
or the Fail Mary. Oh, it was 100% a catch.
Des Bryant's catch was a catch for a million years.
Also, if you remember the tight end from the Steelers against the Patriots, I forget who it was at the time. I think it was Heath Miller, but that was a touchdown. And the Fail Mary, that one I still don't know.
How about when
I don't think the refs I still don't think the refs know what the heck was going on in that one.
How about the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Seahawks in the Super Bowl, where they ruled a touchdown when Ben Roethlisberger's head crossed the goal line, but the football did not, and then the 2 toes in the back of the end zone for the Seahawks was ruled not a touchdown, and if they had made the right call on the touchdown in the back of the end zone and did not call Ben in, it would have flipped and the Seahawks would have won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Crazy. But putting up this poll right now, in the Virginia Tech Hokies and Miami Hurricanes game over the weekend, do you believe Virginia Tech had the touchdown and the call should have been upheld? So I am putting that out to you right now here, folks. You can vote on it on X. That is the former Twitter, and at CallDT.
I think you could probably put like a more in-depth poll on that. Like you could probably put like, yes, touchdown. Yes, it should have been upheld. Yes, touchdown. Not enough evidence to overturn. No touchdown. Not enough evidence to overturn. No touchdown would have stood. Well, maybe not. I don't know. That's more complex.
Yeah.
That's why you make the polls and not me.
So yeah, no, I know what you're saying though. But so it's out there. You can vote in it now in the Virginia Tech at Miami game over the weekend. Do you believe that Virginia Tech indeed had that touchdown at the end of the game and it should have been upheld? Vote right now, and that is on X at CallDT, CALLDT. Make sure that you click subscribe while you are there. Alabama and Georgia. This game got out of hand really quick. Both teams came in undefeated at 3-0, and Georgia was down at the end of the first quarter 21-0. Jalen Milroe, quarterback of the Crimson Tide, started off the game with a 7-yard touchdown run. Then Jam Miller, awesome name, by the way, got a touchdown pass from Jam. So 16-yard touchdown pass from Jalen to Jam. And then we saw Bernard with a 7-yard run to make it 21-0. Then in the early part of the second quarter, Alabama said some is not enough, so they scored again, 28-0. The first score from the Georgia Bulldogs came with 6 minutes and 43 seconds left in the first half. That was a touchdown run by Trevor Etienne, the brother of Travis Etienne Jr. And then Alabama got a safety,
And so they went up 30-7 at halftime. And then coming out of the break, both teams scored in the third quarter. Then it was Georgia to round out this game until the 2-minute and 18-second mark of the fourth quarter. So Georgia was down 33-15 heading into the final quarter. Then Georgia had a touchdown from Carson back to Lawson Lucky, an 8-yard touchdown, and that was made it 33-21 Alabama. Then Dylan Bell had a 3-yard run to make it 33-28 Alabama. Then Dylan Bell had a 67-yard pass that came from Carson Beck to give, and the 2-point conversion failed, and this gave the lead to the Georgia Bulldogs for the first time in the game, 34-33. Think about it. If that 2-point conversion was successful, it would have been 36-33. But either way, they didn't need a field goal. Alabama got the touchdown. They win the game. Ryan Williams, 75-yard pass from Jalen Milroe, and the 2-point conversion was successful. So at 2:31 left in the game, Georgia had their first lead of the game. 13 seconds later, Alabama had the lead. And they kept it on a 75-yard pass from Jalen Milroe, 41-34. I asked the question, is Alabama for real? Is Georgia for real? Are they both for real? What are your thoughts, Murph?
It's Alabama and Georgia. I mean, these two teams are consistently in the top 5 in the nation every single year. There's a reason why. They beat up on everybody. They are that good. You know how the kids say, sometimes like this guy, like he is him, like they are them, right? Like Alabama and Georgia, they are them, right? It's the plural version of he is him, right? But, that was a phenomenal ending to that game. Because I'm sitting there when, like I said, Saturday night, my buddy and I were out at the bar. We were, just playing pool, having a couple drinks. And we're watching the end of the Penn State games because Penn State beat Illinois. Big win for Penn State over a good conference-ranked team. We'll get into that later. But I was looking at the score of the Georgia game, and I'm like, holy crap, they're getting killed. Yeah. So I'm like, all right, like we don't need to watch this. And then fourth quarter, we're like, man, like this game's getting close. Yeah. So I had the bartender put the game on, and we watched the end of the game when Carson Beck threw the interception in the left corner of the end zone, and that was that. But as much as I hate Alabama, well, no, I don't think I hate Georgia more. I hate them both. Right? I mean, they're SEC rivals. I don't like either one of them. So if they both could lose, that would be really, really nice. But unfortunately, that was not the case. And yeah, Alabama won. Kalen DeBoer with a statement win as head coach of the Alabama Crimson Tide. And Kirby Smart now, I believe, has only won one game against Alabama in the last, 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing with Kalen DeBoer. And the first time I got the opportunity to speak with Kalen was last season when he was the head coach of the Washington Huskies, and they were undefeated. And I consider them to be they should have been the number 1 seed. So Washington had themselves a heck of a season last season. Nick Saban decides to step away, and Kalen DeBoer comes in. The question becomes, what happens to this team? There was guys transferring out due to the NIL and transfer portal and just the frenzy and the easiness of just being able to do whatever you want, whenever you want, in a lot of ways when it comes to this world of collegiate football and college athletics in general. And so the question became, if they're leaving Nick Saban, what are they going to do? Because they left after, the guys saying, okay, Nick's not here, I'm going to leave. Kalen comes in. Then they get this victory, and now the fans are going crazy. By the way, the touchdown by Ryan Williams was absolutely insane. And, I mean, the touchdown from Georgia to take the lead was crazy. And you talk about momentum, caught the ball, and then a guy catches up to him, and the guy tries to tackle him, and he spins and just keeps his feet going and takes off.
Oh, my God.
And then the play from after that, the catch.
Was that one the bobble?
So, no, that was the catch that came in. But then the Ryan Williams, Alabama reach out, and, here he is in single coverage. He jumps up, puts his hand out. looks like he's not going to catch this ball. The ball comes in somehow, and then he makes a move on the sideline. All I can say about watching Alabama and watching Georgia over the years is their athletes are freakish. They're insane. The plays that they make are insane. I'm not saying that there's not incredible plays by other teams in other places. I'm just saying when you watch Alabama and Georgia, there is literally nothing for the most part that they can't do on the field. They can play Gumby and outstretch their arms. They can, I mean, this and the funny thing about this is it was 21-0 after the first quarter. And I was like, but if any team's going to come back, if any game's going to be close, nothing surprises me, because if you shut off an SEC game, whoever's playing, in a lot of, when it comes to South Carolina, like Kentucky's had a weird season. When you look at Ole Miss, when you look at Alabama, when you look at Georgia, Auburn in a lot of ways, there's these LSU, these teams that face off in the SEC, and you shut the game off thinking that it's done. It's a moot point. And then you turn it back on and you're like, how the hell did I remember years ago, in the year that UCF didn't make the college football playoff and should have, and then they beat Auburn, the year that Auburn beat Georgia and Alabama, and then Alabama and Georgia played for the national championship, Georgia had that game with a couple minutes left, and Alabama came back and won it. So when these two teams play each other, a lot of these SEC games in general, this is a conference where it doesn't matter the score at the beginning of the game, because they're going to make it interesting more often than not, I would say. And this game looked like it was going to be 48-0 Alabama, and Alabama needed to score a touchdown at the end of the game. So, I mean, again,
how far down did Georgia fall? Because I know Alabama's now the new number one.
So, which is funny because Georgia wasn't the number one, but the rankers right now
5,
in the AP poll, Alabama's 1, Texas 2, Ohio State 3, Tennessee 4. Receiving votes in the AP for 1, Alabama got 40, Texas got 19, Ohio State got 4, Tennessee didn't get any. Then Georgia, then Oregon, then Penn State, then Miami. Question.
I like that they put out they flip-flopped Miami. Penn State leapfrog Miami.
Well, in Miami, yeah.
I like that. I like that for them, because Penn State played a really good game against Illinois, who was a ranked team, who's a pretty good team. And Miami did not play well against a Virginia Tech team that's not ranked.
No. So, I mean, I agree with that. Missouri's 9. Michigan is 10 in the AP.
Clemson's only fell to 12?
Yeah, Clemson's come all the way back. Yeah, they fell 6 spots from 6 to 12. Notre Dame is at 14. Clemson is back where they were to start the season pretty much. They were 14, now they're 15. And UNLV, despite not having their quarterback, they are tied for 25th in the AP with Texas A&M.
Tied for 25th. I've never seen that.
Oh yeah, there's been ties, and Illinois is 24 after their win. Illinois fell 5 spots, or pardon me, after their loss they fell 5 spots. Indiana's in the rankings after not being ranked. UNLV's in the rankings after not being ranked in the AP. In the coaches poll, it is still Texas first, not Alabama. Ohio State is 3rd, Tennessee's 4th, Georgia's 5th, Oregon 6th, Penn State 7, Miami, Missouri, Michigan. So the top 10 in the coaches poll is identical to the AP except for 1 and 2. What are your thoughts on the coaches saying that Texas is better right now than Alabama?
I disagree with them. I like Alabama ranked number 1 right now. If you beat a team like Georgia, you deserve to be number 1 if you're undefeated. That's just the case in point. Michigan is not as good as they've been years past. That's not as good a win as we see. But if you look at Texas's schedule in the next 2 weeks, sorry, not the next 2 weeks, they're off this week. The next two games that they play, so the next 3 weeks.
Yeah.
They're off this week. They play Oklahoma in the Red River rivalry, and then they host Georgia. They win those 2 games, they're back at number 1, regardless of what Alabama does. Now, Alabama does have to play Tennessee in that time. Then they play Missouri. Oh, God. Listen to Alabama's next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games.
Yeah.
Vanderbilt, okay, cupcake. South Carolina, okay, cupcake. Tennessee on the road against the top 5 team. Hosting Missouri, a top 10 team.
Yeah.
At LSU, a top 15 team. That is brutal. Then they get Mercer, Oklahoma, and Auburn to close out the year.
Always got to have Mercer.
That 3-game stretch is brutal. And only one of them's at home.
Yeah.
They got to go to Tennessee, which is a tough place to play. They host. The ESPN app just crashed.
Yeah.
I don't know if you use the ESPN app at all, but it crashes so much.
Oh, the site was giving me like spam bots and stuff. But looking at this right now, for Texas,
Host Missouri and then go to LSU.
Yeah.
It is always hard to play in Death Valley, regardless of how good LSU is.
You look at, so you're talking about Alabama's schedule. You'll get Texas's schedule, and you mentioned Oklahoma and Georgia. They get to play both of those games at home. So Texas getting to be at home against Oklahoma in their first game against each other since both joining the SEC from the Big 12, which is cool. And that game is going to be October 12th as they're off this week. So they'll play at 3:30 p.m. Eastern time on October 12th. And then Georgia on October 19th, 2 days before my birthday. They'll be playing that game, and that's also at home. But then you got to keep in mind, Arkansas likes to play spoiler. They play on the road at Arkansas on November 16th. Then they play another spoiler, Kentucky, and that game is at home for Texas. And then they play at Texas A&M. So, yes, Oklahoma and Georgia are the toughest ones of this lot, but the trip-em game is at Arkansas or against Kentucky, in my opinion. And then when you look at, we looked at Alabama, we looked at Texas, let's look at Georgia. So, Georgia's schedule puts them in a place where...
Do we play them this week or is that next week?
So, Georgia plays Auburn this week.
Okay, so then we play them next week.
So Georgia will have Auburn at home. They will have Mississippi State at home. They will have Texas on the road.
When the hell's our game?
And then they take a week off and play Florida on November 2nd. So they will play Florida after.
I thought it was always like the second week of October, that game.
Georgia and Florida will play in the after the bye week. So Georgia's got to play the 5th, the 12th, the 19th. Then they don't play the 26th, and they'll be off until the 2nd when they play Florida. Then Georgia plays at Ole Miss, Tennessee, and then they play in their last game of the season. Second to last game of the season. They will play Massachusetts, UMass, and then, of course, as always, they play Georgia Tech, and that game this time is going to be in Georgia's home on November 29th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time during Rivalry Week on ABC. So Georgia, Auburn, no slouch. Mississippi State, no slouch, especially if Georgia has one of those games like against Kentucky where they're not scoring a lot. Then they have to play at Texas and then at Ole Miss and Tennessee. So arguably, when we're looking at all of these teams, everybody's got a gamut to run. But the reality of it all is, in my belief, as of right now, Georgia,
it's the SEC.
Georgia, Alabama, or Texas, whoever runs the gamut the best is going to be number 1. And let's be real. If the other one loses a game, they'll probably be number 2.
Maybe not number 2, because I'm assuming you might. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say you are going to have either an undefeated Ohio State or an undefeated Penn State as the number 2 team. That's my guess.
That's your guess. Okay.
That's my guess. Because Penn State does look good. Drew Aller's played well for them. Their defense is very good. They may only be number 7. Ohio State's number 2. When do they play them?
So Ohio State.
When does Penn State play Ohio State?
Ohio State's at Penn State.
Penn State's about to run a
gauntlet.
Well, not really. I mean, they play UCLA next week. Then they go to USC. That's going to be a big game for them. If they win that game, which I think they could, then they play Wisconsin at Wisconsin, and then they host Ohio State.
Yeah.
That game is going to be nuts. If they both go into that game undefeated, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
I still think Ohio State's the better team, but having the advantage of playing that game at Beaver Stadium, it's not going to be a night game, which sucks, but
we don't know.
It won't be. It's not. And the thing is, they used to put.
You think they're going to do big noon?
The best games at night.
You think they're going to do big noon? The Big Ten doing big noon?
100%.
Have Ohio
100%.
State, Penn State at noon?
Because it's not the whiteout game. Because the whiteout game is Washington, and that's going to be a 7 o'clock game. The whiteout game's the following week. If I'm Penn State, I want that to be a night game.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's going to. Because they do the whiteout every year, and the whiteout, from what I understand, is Washington. I think they should just try and get that to be the primetime game and let that be the whiteout. Or do back-to-back weeks of a whiteout. Because Ohio State's the bigger game.
Yeah.
And, we remember there was one, though it's not the last time they did the whiteout against Ohio State, but one of the more recent times they did the whiteout against Ohio State, if y'all remember, blocked field goal, returned for a touchdown. Penn State won. 2018, I think. I'm pretty sure. 2017, 2018, something like that. My buddy Jake was at that game and watched the whole thing. He was in the end zone that they were coming towards when he picked up the fumble, when Marcus Allen, when they recovered the fumble.
Yeah.
And brought it back. Marcus Allen blocked the kick.
Well, when we look at
Penn State's fun.
and the thing about Penn State is you get excited and they'll have moments where they kind of almost get there, and then they end up playing in the Rose Bowl when the Rose Bowl was outside of the college football playoff rotation that year. But now it's in. Now there's 12. I mean, on Penn State's side, they're 4-0. On the side of 1-0 in the conference in the Big Ten, Ohio State's the same, 4-0 and 1-0 in the conference after beating Michigan State on the road 38-7. This is Ohio State. Now, Ohio State has a game against Iowa. I don't consider Iowa to be a slouch. Their offensive coordinator, Tim Lester, I've known him for a long time. So I don't consider that to be a slouch. It's good that it's at home for Ohio State. Then they play the game that is the game that when Ohio State won their only college football playoff title, they beat this team. And this game in non-conference became a thing that they were doing. Now it's a conference game, and that's the Oregon game. Ohio State will be at Oregon on October 12th. Then they play Nebraska, who's a lot better than people give them credit for. Then and depending on how that Oregon game goes on the West Coast, and depending on how long that game goes, and does that game go farther than 4 quarters, then you got to play Nebraska. But the benefit, they get their week off in between. So the positive for Ohio State is if they're reeling from that Oregon game, no matter what it is, they get a week off. Then they play Nebraska, which bodes better for Ohio State. Then they play at Penn State, as you mentioned. Then they play Purdue at home, at Northwestern, Indiana, who's now ranked, and Michigan, who's ranked as well. And those games are also at home. So Ohio State, who is used to playing at home, they will have 5 of their last 8 games will be played at home, and they will not play consecutive road games at all, per usual, because it's Ohio State and preferential treatment. So that's their schedule. That's how pretty it looks in the sense of Oregon's going to be a tough game. Iowa can be a trip 'em game. Penn State's going to be an interesting game. But if they can get through that gamut, Purdue at Northwestern, Indiana, and Michigan, I'm not sold on this year. I would lean Ohio State's side in that matchup, especially because the game is going to be played in Ohio. So I think if they can get through these next 4 games with a 3-1 record, then if they go undefeated through this, then they're really looking pretty. But if they go 3-1 through this and they can run the gamut on the rest of it, then we're talking about an Ohio State 11-1 team at the end of the regular season. So I know a lot of people don't want them to lose a game and think that they can't afford to lose a game, but the next 4 games are not going to be easy for them.
No, not at all. And it won't be easy for Penn State either. They kind of have to run through a little bit of a mini gauntlet, we said there as well. But I will say this, if the Ohio State game is a late game, I might try to go. If it's a 7:30 kickoff,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how long it would take for me to get from work to State College. I'm actually curious about this. How long would it take me to get from Allentown to Beaver Stadium?
Well, while you're figuring that out, Murph and I are going to take our step
2.5
aside
hours.
here.
Oh boy.
And we will come
I
back.
barely make it.
Yeah. We'll come back with NFL talk in just a moment. NFL talk, quick cards, and wrap up today's broadcast, a wake-up call with DT and Murphy right after this. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
All right, you need to come out here and get yourself the Brooklyn Pickle. I was talking about this with one of my buddies. I was like, yo, there's no better sandwich in the state of New York than the Brooklyn Pickle. And now that I found out that they're going down to North Carolina, we are taking over your taste buds everywhere you are, wherever you're going to be. You need to get yourself out to the Brooklyn Pickle. Pinehurst, you just realized that you found yourself the best sandwich shop that you're ever going to have. This is a glorious moment. It's a blessing to your community. You're welcome. Brooklyn in the house, baby. Go over to the Brooklyn Pickle. You already know what it is.
You heard the man. Head to Brooklyn Pickle Pinehurst on 1788 Old Morgantown Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina. And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. Murphylation for the nation with us here on Mondays, DT and Murphy inside of Wake Up Call, and we are jumping to the NFL very quickly here, and then we'll jump into some cards as we give you the last few minutes of today's broadcast, sad face, but we looking at the Jets and the Jags. Murph is a Jets fan, I am a Jags fan, and of course, impartial as a broadcaster, I didn't pick them to win this game, and they did not, so the Jacksonville Jaguars take their fourth loss in a row to start the season. They are 0-4, and the Jets lost their very close game in the Nate Hackett Bowl, and that puts the New York Jets in a record of 2-2. Murph, your thoughts on both of our teams this morning?
Well, for starters, with the Jets, it was very wet.
Yeah, because you were there.
Yeah, very, very wet. Completely undisciplined.
Yeah.
Would be the way I would describe it. I don't even know how many penalties they had. I didn't even bother looking it up because it was a lot. They had probably 5 or 6 false starts, a couple of illegal shifts.
Not as bad as Houston.
That's true. I will say this, though. one of the penalties that they had in the third quarter, I think it was the third quarter, when Alan Lazard made the catch and basically just did single and first down, he got hit with an unsportsmanlike for that. That's got to be one of the worst unsportsmanlike calls I have ever seen.
Yeah.
Because he did nothing wrong. Guys signal first down all the time.
Right.
What was wrong with that? Was it because it was a gun gesture that he got a flag for it? We all know they don't like pew-pews, as they're called on TikTok, right? I don't, like, what did he do wrong? Literally. If he was taunting, okay.
Yeah.
All he did was signal first down.
Do you want to know how many penalties the Jets had?
Can I take a guess?
Yes.
9.
Higher.
12.
Higher.
No freaking, are you kidding? 15.
No, 13.
Oh my God, man. They were
13. 13 penalties for the Jets.
I think it was half a dozen false starts. I know they had at least one pass interference. They had, that's 7. That's just taking my guess. I think it was at least 6 false starts.
Yeah.
They got called for offsides twice. Let's see. They got called for illegal shift twice, I think. I think they had, I don't think they had a defensive holding.
How many do you think Jacksonville had against the Texans?
That I don't know.
Take a
Because
guess.
to be honest with you, I didn't see the highlights of the game.
Take a guess.
6.
Yeah.
Literally?
Yeah, we had half of your penalties. Less than half.
Oh my God.
And
They played a decent game though. CJ Stroud played well.
And the Texans
in that one.
The Texans had, do you think the Texans had over or under the penalties of the Jets?
Based on what you were telling me, I would think they had more.
They had 12.
Oh.
So they had 12 penalties, the Houston Texans did, to the point where a lot of them were coming from Laramie Tunsil and their offensive linemen, and Tunsil being called repeatedly in like close quarter time of penalties, to the point where fans started to boo. And I feel bad for Tunsil because, I mean, I don't know what's going on.
But if it's the same damn penalty
I
every
hope.
time, like you would think he would figure it out eventually.
Right. I mean, I hope things get figured out. I hope he figures
He's
it
a
out.
former Jag, wasn't he?
And I hope that the Tunsil, no. So.
Are you sure?
Yes. I remember him getting drafted, and now I have to remind myself who drafted him. But he, let me see here.
Dolphins, that's right.
Yeah, Dolphins, and I think that's
He was
it.
just Dolphins and Texans.
Yeah, Dolphins and Texans. But yeah, no, they didn't have him because I would have seen Mr. Tunsil in the locker room. But yes, a lot of those penalties came from him, and that was not great. The team also lost a fumble, speaking of the Houston Texans, but Jacksonville's defense that showed up and did some good things and made some good plays just didn't close this one out. And this was a close one. It was a lot better than Monday Night Football, but Jacksonville is 0-4. They lost to the Dolphins on the road by 3. They lost to the Browns at home by 5. They lost to the Bills in a blowout, and they lost to the Texans by 4. So in 3 of their 4 losses to start the season, they've lost by less than a touchdown in all 3 of those games. So they're within striking distance. They're just not striking. And that's the issue. That is the issue.
I just saw something on Instagram that made me very sad.
What?
Dikembe Mutombo died.
I was just thinking about him. Maybe that's why I was thinking about him. I was just thinking about him.
That's so sad.
Dikembe,
What was it? I think it was the Geico commercial.
he died of
You remember
brain-
when Geico used to do like the commercials where
and he did his finger. Yeah.
no.
So Dikembe
Oh, my
Mutombo
Yeah, that's so sad.
58 years old. Dikembe passed away of brain cancer. The
Oh
NBA
yeah,
announced
I had no idea.
the NBA announced this morning. Dikembe Mutombo was simply larger than life, said NBA Commissioner Adam Silver. Quote, on the court, he was one of the greatest shot blockers and defensive players in the history of the NBA. Off the floor, he poured his heart and soul into helping others. There was nobody more qualified than Dikembe to serve as the NBA's first global ambassador. He was a humanitarian at his core. He loved what the game of basketball could do to make a positive impact on communities, especially in his native Democratic Republic of the Congo and across the continent of Africa. I had the privilege of traveling the world with Dikembe, this coming from Adam Silver, and seeing firsthand how his generosity and compassion uplifted people. He was always accessible at NBA events over the years with his infectious smile, deep, booming voice, and signature finger wag that endeared him to basketball fans of every generation. End quote. That now makes perfect sense why the flash of his face was in my brain today, because apparently God was letting me know something. Dikembe Mutombo has passed away at the age of 58. I pray, as always, that we find a cure for all types of cancer and all types of disease, that we put money into things that are actually helpful and not harmful. And in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen. I pray for the families affected by this, including Dikembe's family and every family that he's touched. I pray and I hope for Dikembe to be safe and sound in heaven. And I would love it, knowing that God has a sense of humor, for Dikembe to get up to heaven and for God to wag his finger and go, just kidding, Dikembe, come on in. So
that'd be fun. That'd be great.
So to Dikembe's family and to everyone touched by Dikembe's life and his soul and his personality and his finger wag and everything that he did, may those of you that are here on earth be at peace. May you be with your loved ones here on earth, and may you have God's grace and love and all that you need to help you through this difficult time. Dikembe, may you be safe and sound in heaven, reunited with your loved ones that have also passed away, and may you all be connected, even in death, because Jesus destroyed our death and restored our life when he rose. And one day, Dikembe, you will rise again. God bless you, and thank you for everything you've done, beyond the game and in the game. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
I'm so sad now.
One of my favorite he's the reason why I watch the Atlanta Hawks.
I came across the video, the Geico commercial from Twitter.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And it was a 15-second commercial, but it was so funny.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Not in my house. Yeah, so I love Dikembe's just, man, he's one of the.
God. He was a treasure, man.
Yeah.
That's so sad.
Yeah, and the thing is, and when you talk about doing the point forward for a first down and this and that, would refs today, would they fine him or give him a foul every time he did this?
I will say this, if
but
there were games today, I guarantee you guys that would block would do that, and the refs would say nothing.
Well, I think people
the next day they might say something, but the first day they would not say it. They wouldn't say a word.
Yeah, I think when the season starts soon, believe it or not, I think when the season starts here in Rocktober, I'm sure that there's going to be a little bit of this. I'm sure Georgetown players might do it in honor of their great alum in Dikembe Mutombo. Now, Dikembe Mutombo, I used to tell people this because not a lot of people know it, and so I would always say to people, do you know his full name? Because it's not Dikembe Mutombo simply. It's Dikembe Mutombo Mofalando Mukamba Jean-Jacques wa Mutombo is his
full
name. That is his.
Is it? I've heard of a couple of these guys that are from Africa that have these really obscure full names, and that's a crazy one. I want to know why because you see it sometimes from like different countries in Africa. I want to know why some of those people have so many names. I'm wondering if it's like a religious thing.
Well, sometimes, and I know like in Hispanic culture, there is the reality that like your name is longer. So you might be like, um, you might be Alessandra Martinez, but your full name is Alessandra Martinez Ortiz Jimenez because you take from like a lineage. So when I saw
Yeah,
this in his name, I thought about that. I thought about like that
that makes
lineage
sense.
connection and all of that. But Dikembe Mutombo, just a wonderful, wonderful basketball player, a timeless personality, somebody that you never wanted to see leave the ranks ever, and one of the greatest Georgetown Hoyas that has ever lived. And so I'm sure they'll honor him this year. And I am more than confident that somebody will finger wag this season, at least from Georgetown. Jerry said, I'd like to see that name on the back of a jersey. Me too, Jerry.
Oh, that'd be
Me
great.
too, Jerry. So you got any cards to show? We got a minute here. You got anything?
I got a couple.
Okay.
I made a deal with a friend of mine yesterday. I no longer have the CJ Stroud Silver.
Okay.
I traded out of it. Um, yeah, I don't really have much, but I already sold one of the cards I traded out of it for, which realistically is I haven't sent it yet, but it's still here. But I did sell it, so it's going out today. This one is a Panini One Jamar Chase RPA. How sick is that autograph?
That's nice. I'm looking at the patch. The
His auto is sick. It's 3-color patch. It's a really good
Yeah.
patch.
Yeah.
This is an interesting one. This is a National Treasures Colossal RPA of Saquon Barkley.
Okay.
Really good for the Philly audience. Radiant Rookie Brees Hall RPA out of 25. That is a 3-color patch as well.
What up, Brees?
A rookie ticket RPA. I've never seen a rookie ticket patch autograph.
Yeah.
I've only ever seen rookie ticket autographs. This is not numbered, but that is also Jamar Chase. And then this is the other big card I got in the deal for my Prism Silver CJ Stroud. So, if CJ Stroud continues to play well, I won't lose out on the CJ Stroud game.
Yeah.
This is a Prism Pink PSA 10.
Nice.
So I won't lose out on not having any CJ Stroud because I did take back a CJ Stroud in that deal. So I don't feel too bad about that now.
Nice.
But I do still have the Downtown Richardson. I don't have, all that much else. Like, my case is practically empty, man. I got a bunch of cards that are getting ready to go out to get graded, so I'm hoping that by the end of today, those cards... And no, I'm hoping. I'm going to send them out by the end of today.
Yeah.
But those cards will be out. Hopefully I have them back. Hopefully I have them back by the time the Pocono Show rolls around in November. So we'll see. But they're getting out. Those are going to get out today. I should have them at PSA by the end of the week.
Yeah, I have a stack. I had Josh look at some, so they look to be. I may be sending some more out very soon here. I do have.
Any word on the LeBron yet? Is that still getting graded, or
the
is that back?
LeBron? I don't know the grade on it yet. That I do not know yet. So these cards have gone up in price. I'll show those in a second. But when I did my box break of Topps, I not only got my boy Fred Taylor, but I got my boy Fred Taylor in the checkered refractor as well. So I got two of those. This one I'm holding on to until he comes back. It's a rookie PSA 10 of Puka.
Puka.
So
Love Puka.
Puka Nakua. I have my 4 out of 5 Caleb Williams of his rookie. I have an autograph, and I really love these cards. I know that it's illumination through Wild Card, but I just love the card itself. So it's the Dynamite refractor that has a Velociraptor on it, and it's Cam Ward's autograph.
Oh my God, that's cool. That's so cool.
So I got Cam Ward. And then these ones, I had no idea. When I bought these, I just wanted these for myself. But if you go into GG Cards and Breaks, you can see the prices have gone substantially up. And I don't know if they have this one, but this is my Bowman U refractor auto of Aronde Gadsden II from Syracuse. And then these two together, very happy I got them when I got them before the season. This is numbered to 490. Is this 499? So this is numbered to 499. Kyle McCord's silver auto, Bowman first. And then Kyle McCord's refractor here out of 25 in the world. And both of these are a very pretty penny. Keep in mind, this man had over 1,000 yards. He had over 1,000 yards in his first 3 games at Syracuse, 1,074. He just added another 300 plus. He has not had a game below 300 yards. And yeah, so I mean, at this point, he is over 1,300 in 4 games at Syracuse. So he's on pace to have a 3,000 passing yard season. And his cards, I went into the store, I went into Gigi's, and I was like, are those the prices on the cards right now? I was like, for real? I was like, I have that one and I have that one. I was like, yes. So like, because I was like, do I pay $20 for that card? Like, that's what I was thinking.
Could also be the area too. Yeah. Like, you know, you're right by Syracuse University, so you know, Syracuse fans are going to want cards of their quarterback. That always helps.
Right. Well, and they said, I mean, like Anthony looking at like the most recent comps and whatnot. So my McCords, very pretty. Here in the collection with Aronde. And
I'm sure there's one thing that you wish that was different about them. That he was wearing a Syracuse uniform.
Well, and that is why I have this one, because it's orange.
That's fair.
So I got that.
That's fair.
I got that for the orange of it all, but I'm really happy I got this one from GG Cards and Breaks.
That's so sick. I mean, that probably wasn't all that expensive either, but that's so cool.
No, because I got it early. I was like, let me get it before Miami wins any more games. So because now they're 5-0, and people are talking about Cam Ward, and he has called himself the best quarterback in the country. So we shall see what happens.
I mean, according to him.
Yeah, according to him. So Murph, as always, I appreciate it. Go get your car. I hope everything is good with that. I'm gonna head off and get to this press conference with Syracuse heading to their first road game, a Friday night matchup on October 4th of this week. You will see Syracuse play for the first time ever UNLV, and it'll be in the Raiders Stadium where Murph was last year at Allegiant Stadium. It'll be Syracuse at UNLV.
Gorgeous stadium, by the way.
UNLV does not have their quarterback because he quit on the team, and they don't have their running back who also
I
quit
saw
on the
that.
team. Yeah. Oh, I did a whole thing about that, Murph.
What is up with that, man?
I did an entire
Dude,
thing.
just randomly like, I'm just going to enter the transfer portal.
He declared himself a redshirt, which, as far as I know, you cannot redshirt yourself. The school has to redshirt you. He redshirted himself, quit the team, then wished them the best of luck. So, interesting situation. He was the Holy Cross
College football has become a business, and it is so bad.
College
football has been ruined by the NIL.
Yeah, it's not a business. It's a bad business right now, and they need to figure this thing out. But plenty coming up. 1 o'clock today is when things start here. Will it be Braves and Mets? Mets and Diamondbacks? Braves and Diamondbacks. You all voted. You guys think it's going to be Braves and Mets. I love you all to pieces. I hope you're wrong. And I hope for good things to happen. I will wear this all day. Murph will wear that all day. And
I'll probably be wearing a jersey come game time.
We'll see what happens, but we know that at 1 o'clock and then right after, a doubleheader down in Hotlanta will either send the Braves and the Mets to the postseason, the Mets and the Diamondbacks, or the Braves and the Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks need either one of those teams to sweep. They need either Braves 2-0 or Mets 2-0, and all the Mets and the Braves need to do is win a game, and they are in. So we shall see what happens. I hope that these teams are out for blood in the NL East, and I hope that they're bitter, because that gives me an opportunity to get in. So, we'll see what happens, but as always, Murph, I appreciate you.
Yes, sir. We'll see what happens this week. I'll have to I'll have to fill out a bracket once the playoffs is set, and I'll send it to you.
Yes, we will fill out a bracket and we will share those publicly. So, good stuff, Murph. Have a good day and take care of yourself.
Appreciate it. Let's go Mets.
All right. Let's go D-backs. Snakes alive. Snake bitten is my hashtag. So, let's hope that the snakes
LFGM, baby.
do some biting. Yeah. So, let's see, man. We got a lot coming up here starting at 1 o'clock. We'll take a step aside and I'll be back to wrap up the show. Murph, as always, have a wonderful day and my best to your Mets.
Appreciate you, buddy.
All right, man. Take care. Appreciate you.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily, and we bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there, and of course you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100, and also find them on myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying, in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, Carvelanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks coming to you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York is your one-stop sports card and trading card shop. Find GG Cards and Breaks Tuesday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and on Sundays from 10 to 5. You will find so many different things there, from graded cards to packs, boxes, autograph cards, rookie cards, patch cards. You could find a one-of-one at GG Cards and Breaks, because I know that Will Levis may still be in the case right now. So head off to GG Cards and Breaks today. Experience the difference on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. Of course, all of our card breaks here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora are proudly presented by GG Cards and Breaks, and our sports card show and tell is also, like we did today, proudly presented by GG Cards and Breaks. Make sure that you go and see them this week. Let them know that DT sent you, and we'll be doing an all-new break today. So very excited for that. Make sure you stay tuned for it. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, many thanks to Murphalation for the Nation, and many thanks to all of you for watching and listening to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, and on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com, Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Then we jump into the archives, Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, YouTube, and more. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. Many thanks to our incredible partners in Central and Upstate New York: Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, Servo-Mation, Mother's Cupboard, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Chick-fil-A, Cicero, GG Cards and Breaks, Ma and Pa's, Snack Capital of the World on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York, Pizza Man, Great Lakes Honda City, Avicoli's, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, Brian's Landing, and an all-new partner in Central and Upstate New York will get announced tomorrow and be in that open spot here on your screen. Of course, we are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Lemoyne College Dolphins. It's Fins Up every single month on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find your Dolphins during Dolphin Time, Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. We underpromise and overdeliver like we did this past week with 3 specials on top of our typical Wednesday Dolphin dive. And so you'll dive into the stories of student athletes, coaches, administration, future Dolphins, and alumni. You can go to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt for the entire library of Dolphin content. Make sure that you subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find the Lemoyne playlist. The Dolphins are on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to lemoynedolphins.com. And as always, Fins Up. The Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find your Bobcats every single month in what we call the Bobcat Buzz, with student athletes, coaches, and administration joining me throughout the year to tell the story of the Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse Bobcats, men's and women's soccer, men's and women's basketball, baseball, and esports. And their incredible stories are available to you on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find the BSC Syracuse playlist. You can also find your Bobcats by going to wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. Their campuses are in Syracuse, up the road from downtown Syracuse on James Street. And of course, you'll also find them on right off of Route 57 in Liverpool, across the street from Avicoli's. And so, you'll be eating good over there. The Bobcat Buzz, a spotlight on Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse, unlike anything you'll find anywhere else. And we look forward to everything that is to come. The women's soccer team started off 0-2 this season and has responded with winning 3 games in a row to improve to 3-2. And the men's team has started off the season with only 1 loss and has had incredible play at 4-1. So a lot of great stuff coming up with both men's and women's soccer when it comes to Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse. And your Bobcats can be found by going to syracuse.bscbobcats.com. Go Bobcats. The Binghamton University Bearcats are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You will find your Bearcats every Tuesday during Bearcat Time, Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, worldwide, with student athletes, coaches, and administration telling their stories throughout the year. The Moments with Marshall features Gene Marshall, athletics director of Binghamton University, and the Bearcat Break Room features student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year to tell their incredible stories. Make sure that you check out everything we have with Binghamton by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find the Binghamton University playlist. You'll also find the Bearcats by going to wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to bubearcats.com. And not only go Bearcats, but congratulations to the most recent Hall of Famers. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, find us on Facebook at WakeUpCallDT, X at CallDT, Instagram at WakeUpCall_DT. For Murph and for myself, I appreciate you being a part of the show. Let's go, Arizona. God bless to all teams involved. It all comes down to a doubleheader today. If the Mets and the Braves split, the Mets and the Braves make the postseason. And by the way, the Braves have the tiebreaker over the Mets. So if the Mets and the Braves split, then the Mets are going to get the 6th seed and the Braves are going to get the 5 seed. So they are playing for something. If the Braves or the Mets sweep today and win both games, then the Diamondbacks will get into the 6th seed, and whoever gets swept will get knocked out. So hopefully Arizona's got some life, and we shall see. I'll be watching those games, and I look forward to talking with you all very soon. Look out for my box break that's going to be happening, and I'm very excited to share that with you. Proudly presented by GG Cards and Breaks today. And I'm also very excited that tomorrow morning, Tuesday, October 1st at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, we will announce our newest partner in Central and Upstate New York, and it's unlike anyone we've ever had before. It is truly a unique partner that has never been on Wake Up Call. So very excited to share that with you and what that all means. And also very much looking forward to this Tuesday at 5 p.m. that I'll be on site on location at Pizza Man celebrating the Baldwinsville Bees girls soccer program with their head coach, Kathy Morrissey, as well as their entire team that's going to be out there. So a lot of great Kathy Morris and the team. Very excited to have them out there at Pizza Man. So we'll see you this Tuesday, October 1st at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on site at Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville, New York, right within walking distance of the high school to celebrate Baldwinsville girls soccer. Have a wonderful day. And as always, God bless, no stress, do your best. We'll talk soon.